Are you ready? What's my name? What's my name? Say Kareem Ali. Say Kareem Ali. You're listening to
Are you serious?
the Hip Hop Debate Show.
Okay, so hear me out.
The official podcast of Kareem Ali. In about 2 seconds, Kareem Ali will begin to speak. Kareem Ali TV. This is the Are You Serious podcast where we discuss various topics through the lens of hip hop culture. And we got a juicy one today. This is bound to piss some people off. We're just going to go right to it after I introduce my guest, Slick Vic from Pittsburgh, Slangston Hughes, my guy, Jay Swan, MC for Baltimore City, my man Ty Hill, the ill Ty Hill, Ty Gutter, the Cards Face Up podcast. I got to get on that one day. But that should be like 2 hours long, and I don't know if I can block out that length of time. But he's one of the illest motherfuckers to podcast. One of the illest motherfuckers. Motherfucker. What you say?
I said, you're that damn busy, huh?
I got shit to do, man. Hey, and we got Tislam the great MC for Baltimore City, great producer. You know what I'm saying? One of the dopest dudes of all time. One of the largest forehead surfaces I've seen in a couple seasons.
Just because mine stops and yours continues does not mean anything.
It does. I had to salute like this if I let my shit grow. But I'll deal with the bald-headed Luke Cage look. It's okay with me. You know,
it works for you.
So listen, today we got two MCs that everybody knows is great, but how great are they and who's the best one between them? And we have Black Thought, Tariq, Philadelphia, and then we have from New York, some people who always think or program to say is the greatest of all time, Jay-Z, Sean Carter, Young Hova. Oh my God, what's going on? And what we're gonna do, this is not about status. This is not about who made the most money, who sold the most drugs to destroy their community.
Then Jay-Z lost. Like, there's no need to talk anymore.
No, yeah, it's not about that. It's about who's the best with bars, who's the best MC out of both of these artists. And I'm gonna go with the person who started this argument off air, who not only probably thinks that Black Thought is better than Jay-Z, but he also thinks Black Thought is the greatest of all time. Tislam the Great.
Yes, I agree with that statement, and will throw hands with anybody who doubts that that's true. Like, I mean,
your case, Tislam.
I'm not knocking Jay. Jay can be very skillful, has been very skillful, but his consistency is where he flaws at. And this is, of course, my personal opinion. Based on his catalog, he started off amazing, and slowly, as I also compare him to Nas, he got incrementally worse in his content being as potent. Then out of nowhere, the Blueprint album comes out. He decides, I want to put bars back in my shit. And then he started to stay with that for a minute. Then it's the Disappearing Act. And then I'm back again. Here's some half-ass bars. Then I have this whole life-changing thing. I'm going to drop an album that's basically should have came after Reasonable Doubt called 4444. Now, because I thought that album was good. I saw your face, Langston. I thought the 444 album was a very good album. I think it was a very solid album for his age, his time, and it was properly done. Production could have been a little bit better, but bars-wise, as an older man, not saying we're all of older age, it spoke to me in ways that I think the youth or anyone under 30 probably wouldn't catch on to be honest with you. Now, Black Thought came out before Jay-Z, had bars before Jay-Z. The freestyle alone that he did on Funk Flex will destroy one of Hov's whole albums. Instantaneously. Combust that whole album. Not the first one, but give it one of them, I don't know, I don't even know any one of them besides the first one. And I think that freestyle alone. And since we're going off of bars, we're going off of content, we're going off of lyrics. Jay-Z does more, I'm not saying a party song can't have bars, but have not almost 3/4 of his catalog is party, women-based kind of rhyme. Now he got gangster shit. You gotta understand how big his catalog is. And out of his whole entire catalog, each album has 4 to 5 songs that jump off in the club on some lady shit.
Okay, now hold it right there, Tislam.
Black Thought has never, I've heard not maybe 1 or 2 lady songs, and even then, there was bars.
Tislam, hold off right there. Jay Swan, what do you have to say about that? Because I see you swimming over in your seat right now. What's going on, brother? What do you feel about this? Jay-Z or Black Thought? Sean or Tyreek?
As much as I respect Black Thought, and he's very dexterous with his skill level, come on, man. Jay-Z, like, come on, bro. Like, Jay-Z is the greatest MC of all time, in my opinion. Wow. Like, he has the best catalog, in my opinion, besides Nas's catalog. You know, there was a time frame where it was from, let's see, around 98 to like 2003 when he'll do, lyrical exercise or PSA, like What More Can I Say, or Blackout with DMX and the Locks. And man, like, he'll do those verses and have people scared. That was a time frame around that time. And Black Thought is cool, but he's not on Jay-Z level.
He's just cool. So let me ask you this though. You said Jay-Z was the greatest. Greatness is a measure of accomplishments. We're talking about, can Jay-Z actually rap better than Black Thought? Who rhymes better?
Of course, Jay-Z. And
okay.
Jay-Z been rapping with Jaz-O since '85, and he was Big Daddy Kane's protege, and he beat Big Daddy Kane back in that. He beat Big Daddy
basketball or something.
No, he beat him.
Beat him in what?
He beat him in the freestyle.
Ty Hill. I'm not aware of that story. I got to go with Ty Hill because Ty Hill always has some controversial shit to say. I see you lost weight, your face is slimmer. You know what I'm saying? The dad bod is disappearing. You're doing good, brother.
Man, I appreciate it. Oh, man. Like the brother said, Black Thought, you got to give him salute and credit for who he is, hip-hop wise. He is a legend in hip-hop. But we talking about the GOAT. We talking about Hove. It's not many comparisons to Hove. And when we talking about it, one of the points that the brother made was consistency. Black Thought hasn't been consistent as an artist, like literally his whole career. After the 90s, they what's the name? What they had? They had 4 albums in the 90s. It was what? It was about 4 albums in the 90s. Then we skipped.
Point. What was the other ones? I can't remember.
Black Thought. I mean, they literally skipped majority of the time that hip hop was reigning. Mixtape supreme. We talking, that 2000 to 2005. They kind of skipped that whole era of being on those mixtapes and those freestyle battles. So if he say that, we gonna give Black Thought his credit on that freestyle that he did, it was dope. But Hove did that on everybody's beat. They did it for years and years and years. This is the mixtape era when you went out and got your mixtapes and you went on everybody beat. Consistency, Hove has gave us great songs on every album. It's not one album that you could say with Jay that does not have a great song. And if we're talking again, we're not talking status, right? We're not talking that Hove is just status.
It sounds like you are, though. You're talking about rhymes.
It's kind of hard not to when you're talking about Jay-Z. It's
hard not to. We're talking about Black Thought.
I think you guys are programmed just to say Jay-Z is the greatest. I don't mind you saying he's better than Beth, but the greatest of all time, I think it's a little overblown. But go ahead.
No, it's not though. Think about it. Jay lyrically has been one of the greatest. I mean, if we go from the fast flow, well, it's many greats. I mean, it's always it's many greats. But even if we go from the fast flow, I'm sick of the rhyme, flick of the flow. Check out the J, check out the A, check out the Y, Z. I'm bringing it back. Like he went from that, then he went to the slow down flow, then he went to the I'ma steal everything from Philly flow, then he went to the I'm dealing with the young guns and I'm gonna take that whole flow. Then you have the grown-up flow. I mean, I was just now listening to him the other day, listening how he was literally talking to Beyonce through songs. And like before we knew they was really dating. He's always literal, in my opinion, bar-wise, Black Thought ain't gave us that. He hasn't gave us the lifestyle, the life that he has. You know, we know Jay-Z family, the mother, the brother, the family, like everything. We know the stories. That's what's lyrical and content to me. I don't get that from Black Thought, although he's a great wordsmith.
Yeah.
Slangston Hughes, Slick Vic Low, I see you transform to another Negro in the meantime in order to have this conversation. So who's Jay-Z, Black Thought, and then who's the greatest if it's Jay-Z, is he the greatest of all time if he's better than Black Thought?
Okay. I have a litany of bullet points over here.
Oh my God, limited to about 4 because other people need to talk.
I could do a venerable symposium in refutation to what I have just heard over the last 7 minutes or so. But I'm going to try to keep it as brief as possible and explain.
My zone on this and shit.
Let me explain why, to one degree or another, you all are wrong. Jay Swan, Ty Hill, I think that in my assessment, you two probably don't listen to a wide array enough of hip hop to have a sensible enough opinion on this that isn't just informed by mainstream rap music and Jay-Z-dom, if you will. And then Tislam, very much like myself in a lot of cases, I think you might be a little too underground or boom bap biased, if you will, to have a fair assessment on this particular question when it comes to Sean Carter versus Tariq Trotter. Let's just look at it. If we're just looking at bars, right? If we're just looking at bars, there's something that we tend to do, right? We tend to be biased to the things that we listen to and the opinions that we orbit around. And when it comes to lyricism, a lot of times, those of us who tend to listen to more of the underground, more of the grassroots hip hop, we have this opinion that just because it's underground or just because it's, you know, boom bap or backpack, that automatically means it's lyrically great or it's lyrically superior, when that's not always the case. And then we also think that the mainstream or things to talk about a certain mainstream type of content is automatically not as skilled or not as lyrically superior or something, when there are a lot of whack ass, corny mainstream stuff, and there's also a lot of whack ass, corny, and not so lyrically skilled underground stuff. And oftentimes people just get caught up in the aesthetics of what they like personally. But if we look at just bars, Jay-Z has always been lyrically exquisite. Like Jay-Z has always had a particular skill set when it comes to lyricism. He used to seek out peers of his who people would always laud as being so lyrically dope and challenge them to battles one-on-one. And many have said that he handled many of those battles. Like he took out Jizza one-on-one, he took out Busta Rhymes one-on-one.
Busta Rhymes was 12 years old. I'm tired of you telling that story.
They was around the same age and the same
It was
height.
a middle school.
This was at the time when they were both putting out albums and incredible records. And so just to prove that, like, that misnomer of like, oh, if you talk about a certain thing means you're not as lyrically gifted. And now I feel like that both of these MCs have often been both underrated in some ways and overrated in some ways. A lot of people often talk about Black Thought and that, like, you know, he's overrated because he does a lot of cool aesthetics and verbal gymnastics. But if you really listen to the content, it's not a whole lot being said sometimes. And sometimes that's true. But sometimes it's really about the skills. And he has exhibited the skills time and time again. And when we talk about content, we always get into this thing about, yo, their content. I don't give a hell about no damn content. And this might surprise some people, but fuck content. Like, I care about how skilled did you talk about whatever you're talking about. And a lot of times we just get mystified by these various cliches. I'll cite Cool G Rap has always rapped in every single rap about the exact same thing, drugs and killing. It has never swayed from that for the most part. but his skill level is so high that he gets a pass for not ever switching the content. Biggie, same thing for the most part, minus a couple songs. It's pretty much drug raps, I'm really dope, and women's and the women's. Like, but how the skill level. All I care about is the skill level when assessing skill levels. Jay-Z, I don't. So what if you talk about women being in the club?
Do that again.
You know how dope he uses his skills to do that. The entendres that he incorporates, his skill set to say so much with just a few bars is unparalleled in the mainstream. Black Thought, well, he's a goddamn Japanese breakdancer with the words. So many power moves, but how many times does he just nail in on a specific subject matter over the years? And you know, if you got the world-class musicians of the roots, you don't necessarily have to. You can use that platform to just go off with your lyrical power moves. And so I think that there's a misnomer on both sides where it's like, oh, well, Jay-Z does this, but if you really look at it, he really does a lot of things. And the idea that 444 should have came after Reasonable Doubt is weird to me because he wasn't even in his 444s yet. So how would that even happen? And I think 444 is an amazing album, lyrically and musically. Like I would cite Marcy Me, like he just goes off on there, the one with the reggae sample. Like he's lyrically going off about subject matter that most MCs don't even touch on, but still doing it in a skilled way. And then No ID put his foot in that album production-wise. The production isn't up to par. No ID put his foot in it.
Let me give Tislam a chance to respond.
Yeah,
this is his premise.
It might surprise some people, but in this debate, I go Jay-Z.
Tislam, what do you say to the Jay-Z affiliates who have spoken?
Now, I agree with a lot that Slick said. Now, mind you, my mindset is not of the only underground and backpacker. I was that way up until about 2009, 2010. And then I grew up and put my backpack down and widened my ears. I agree that some people tend to think because they're only rhyming about guns, drugs, women, just and hoes, that it cannot be lyrically profound or dope. That's completely wrong. Hence Mobb Deep and several others who use violence and drugs and sex in their bars, but do it in a storytelling, exquisite manner that comes across as if though they have actual sense and a vocabulary to express their thoughts, versus those who do the ABC and literally can't even be understood sometimes. So yeah, but with I think the only thing that's causing, and this is of course my opinion, doubting is if Jay-Z was with a band or had a band like Black Thought did, would he even be considered? Not saying he wouldn't have wrote those same rhymes, but because of having a band, I think that caused Black Thought not to get the fame and notoriety he would have gotten if it was Black Thought's album versus his 8, 10, 12 albums of the Roots and no Black Thought solo albums, only features, appearances, and freestyles. If Jay-Z was put under the condition where he only was with a band for that long, I don't think the fame and the claim to his. Now, look, first of all, I'm not saying Jay is not dope. Let's make sure that's clear. He is nasty with the bars. I 100% understand that. But I think right now, today, if you put a mic and put Jay-Z and Black Thought on that mic to go at it bar-wise, fuck a song, fuck your albums, spit right now what you got, Jay-Z will be demolished.
I think Jay-Z would relish the opportunity to prove people wrong, too. And I cite the Jay Electronica album as proof.
Hey, Swan, what do you say about that?
Demolish, making it seem like he will like get destroyed by a guy who has been in the game for like almost 40 years and like this double on time.
Maybe demolish is too big of a word. Maybe demolish is too harsh. I apologize. I think he would lose. It would not be a clear loss, but it definitely will be okay, sorry, Jay. He got you.
What would he? I got a question though.
Go ahead.
What would he lose on? What would the judge like? What is the battle being judged on? If they go head up, he's gonna lose. And you really
It's a
believe
cipher.
that?
It's bars. It's just bars. Like how it's all to be honest with you, it will all be opinion based. I guess it would matter who the judges were, to be honest with you. But I think if you were to pick 10 random people off the street from 10 different countries that all understood English and put them in a room and say, here go Black Thought rap, here go Jay-Z rap, 3 rounds, my opinion, they're going to pick Black Thought. Not saying Jay-Z didn't hold his own, not saying Jay-Z didn't do his damn thing, but I think content, lyrically, vocally, runs, just on double entendres, metaphors, all of that within being a lyricist, he would lose. Not badly, but he would lose.
Well, I remember Black Thought.
I think Black Thought's sword is more sharper right now than Jay-Z.
I remember when Black Thought was on the cipher with Eminem and Mos Def, and it seemed like by the consensus that Eminem got the better of that battle with everybody that was there, the better of that cipher.
And that's bullshit.
So Black Thought
niggas is
Not cheated, but yeah.
Niggas is deaf.
But it's not even that. It's like literally like Slangston said, a lot of Black Thought raps just be raps. Like they go nowhere. And that's but again, it's also like you said, opinion. So it's about who's judging. Slangston said that he doesn't care about content matter. I totally care about content matter. You can't be on my top list without content matter. With
variety of content.
It has. Yeah, I need to see all of that. I want to know a part of that. So all of my favorite artists are all of the most sensitive people in the game. Literally, they're all the ones that cry on their records, basically. And I want to hear that, but I want it to be put with lyrical content. I want it to be put out there.
You said all of the Roots albums. Hold up. You said on all of the Roots albums, Black Thought has not given you subject or content where he stayed on one topic.
He has.
If you want to go off of his freestyle, then yeah, I get you, because his freestyle was all over the place, which it did make sense though. But it's all over the place.
Albums, the songwriting is actually really diverse.
It hasn't been consistent. So again, like how you said, you think if you put Jay in front of a band or this, that, and that, well, you take Jay out of Marcy and he grew up in Philly. Does he become a different Jay-Z? I mean, that's like if you change everybody predicament, we might not get none of them. If you take Black Thought from the Roots.
I'm talking about musically. I ain't talking about like surrounding wise.
Musically, the consensus would have already had Black Thought bring an album through, right? Solo album. So if you take Black Thought from the Roots, what producer do you put him with for an album that you think you're going to get a good album?
Primo and Just Blaze.
Yeah.
No
idea. Not.
I'm in his prime. I don't know about what it would be like now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Maybe Primo can still work for anybody now for those type of artists, even for a Jay-Z, a Nas, or a Black Thought. I think a DJ Premier, Ninth Wonder type of production would still, they would rhyme with a certain type of topics.
If we give Jay that same, all right. Let's put that as a battle. We give Jay and Black Thought the exact same producers to go in the studio with. Who comes out with the best project?
Of course, Jay-Z.
It still becomes opinion. I won't say it's just a course.
It becomes
over the crowd of the people who are listening.
Black never really switched his flow like that throughout his career. Honestly, his flow has always been the same. Like
a lot of artists' flow has always been the same. I don't think that your flow being the same, if it ain't broke, why fix it? But I think his flow is improved based off of day one.
Like a person, like a young person.
He'll switch up. He'll be fast. He'll do mid flows. He'll do double entendres. Black Thought is
that double entendre thing. That's so overrated.
Hold up. First of all, any of y'all heard the last 2 projects Black Thought dropped that's on Spotify right now?
Huh?
Have any of y'all heard the last? And of course, we were not talking about Notoriety, Famous.
Not only have
I
heard those
3 projects, projects right now, if not more, on Spotify, and they do have songs, they do have content, they do contain where he says one subject matter, and all of them are lyrically assassinating and for the culture.
Not only have I heard all of them, I heard the Danger Mouse joint already. And so I would say with Thought, over the last like 5 to 7 years, he's actually advanced in the areas that most people used to always criticize him for, in songwriting and in content and all of that. But I mean, a lot of people say, content is king, except when it comes to skill, it gets superseded. And so don't get me wrong, I think this would be an incredible battle. And I think it would possibly even go down to the wire, but I think Jay-Z would relish in the opportunity to prove people wrong in such an emphatic way that it would come off similar to the Murder Mook and Lux battle, where people would be expecting it to go one way for one person, and Jay-Z would play that Murder Mook role and relish in the opportunity to do all the things people say he couldn't do in that setting, and he has the skills to do it. Have you heard that Jay Electronica album? He pretty much out-rhymed the second coming of lyricalness on his own album on damn near every single song.
That
Jay
was
Electronica's the most unmotivated, unambitious motherfucker in hip hop history too. Jay-Z had to drag him out to make that album just to put the shit out. It's probably never gonna come out unless Jay-Z out doing it.
I mean, this is facts. But like he would do that kind of thing, but even more in a battle against that. Like, I mean, he'd have to. Let's not get wrong.
So I want to say this, like in 2 seconds. Let me just say this. I think that sometimes we, as good as Black Thought is, in the way that he constructs his rhymes, the techniques and how he puts his shit together, it's on a very high level. But people assume that just because you're rhyming, you're wordy, that you're more lyrical than someone who's not. And Jay-Z is not as worthy, but he says more with less, more than anybody I think I've ever heard. That's one of the things I think is brilliant, about Jay-Z. Both of these are great.
You know what? I'm not trying to insult nobody's intelligence, but it must be the fact that what Black Thought is saying is going over a lot of y'all fucking heads. Like, I'm being honest. Like there's bars, but there's bars, and there's terms, and that like, if you ain't studying, you ain't picking up. And I'll be real with you. He's very mixed with.
That is the worst. The worst rebuttal. I hate that shit. I hate maybe I ain't smart enough. It's going over. This nigga not doing rocket science on songs. Like, niggas be acting like people doing rocket science in songs. No, it's just because I don't want to hear the content does not mean the content is higher than the level of my.
I'm not saying that's not what's happening, but sometimes it's an illusion as well. Sometimes it's a lot of lyrical gymnastics, and it's not a lot being said. And sometimes he's putting references and stuff in there that you got to read. But what also happens is sometimes Jay-Z goes way over people's head, and they just assume he's not, and they never even reach for it.
Well, I get that because of the simplicity of his content. Sometimes you'll miss the double entendres in the metaphors. I agree. Yeah.
Oh, y'all is loving the double entendre word.
that shit's
I mean,
some of those.
That's a skill that's rarely used. It's a skill that your 85er does not catch 9 times out of 10. They're not even paying attention to certain ways, doubles, triples. Like, there's some shit that go down that people to the day is still discovering hip hop raps. And some people, half people don't even know what a fucking entendre is. If you were to go on the road, go outside right now, anywhere in your city, in your hood, and walk to 15 people and ask them, do you know what double entendre is?
I mean, even beyond the entendre, though, he popularized the one-word punchline that all of the younger MCs were doing in the last 10 years. Like, he was the first one to really start doing that in a popular way with the one-word punchlines. Like, his complex simplicity is often underrated. Now, what I will say, I emphatically disagree with everyone about either one of them being the greatest of all time.
Wait a minute.
Jay-Z's not the greatest of all time.
Before we go there, don't make it seem like Black Thought doesn't have any depth in his rhymes, though, in the context of his couplets.
No, I think we're trying to make it seem like, don't act like he's giving out his rocket science on beats. Like, a lot of times, and I think
I'm not saying it's rocket science. And I didn't mean to hope I took that any kind of way. It's
don't worry.
Sometimes it's archaeology, though.
Flankston called us stupid as well. Maybe we're too dumb to get it. It's okay. Listen, I totally get what y'all saying, but I think you said it the best when you said many times underground is considered to be the greatest just because it's underground. And many times a person that listens to underground considers anything mainstream not to be as great because they're not underground. So because you don't move in certain circuits. But I've been in many of underground scenes from Philly to Baltimore to New York, DC. I've been inside these crowds. Everybody there is not nice.
But it's like, the opposite truth.
It's some niggas that just could not make it.
And I agree with you.
Listen, on both sides.
One second.
That's same on both sides.
Isn't it true that a lot of people just consider because someone's more popular and mainstream that they're automatically better than someone that doesn't get that marketing push?
No,
Yeah,
because
No, not at all.
Sure.
no, because I mean everybody knows it. I mean, listen, everybody knows that it's somebody that could beat Kobe Bryant out here that never made it to the league.
I don't
You
know
know,
that. I don't believe that.
Mm.
It is. It is.
don't believe
Jay
that.
Z even said it with Jay Z even said it.
No. You gotta.
Jay-
That's a totally different conversation. Kobe, Jordan.
Y'all must ain't seen these
LeBron,
fucking
I
record
don't
games
I don't
back in
think
the
those
day.
guys exist. Because if they
Okay.
existed, they would be in the NBA.
You ever been to one of those record games back in the day?
They say what?
Yeah,
Yo,
Kobe went
Kobe
there too.
dominated the
He
record.
made very short work of them.
Oh, Kobe.
Made them look quite pedestrian.
Yeah.
You
Those
remember what
and
year
one guys
Kobe
can't
went?
compete on, and one guys cannot compete on the NBA level.
Are you sure about that, Kareem Ali?
Only Rafael Austin was the one that made it. They don't have the basketball IQ. They don't take care of their bodies on the same level. They don't train that way, and they can't fit into the context of a system and play that way. They can play one-on-one and shit like that on the playground, but all that ball handling shit is not going to work on the NBA level. It's not. But that's a whole different conversation.
I look at it like this.
But I get your point. I get your point.
I think that people know that it exists. Of course, Jay-Z has a bigger push than what you're going to get from an underground artist who might be very, very good. So
way bigger.
It's
Are you
pushed in
making
your
it seem
ear.
like Jay-Z could rap better than everybody? He just rhymes better than everybody that ever rapped. I don't agree with that. I think he's one of the greatest of all time.
When we're talking about GOAT, though, we're not talking. All right, so when we're talking about GOAT, for instance, Tupac is my GOAT for music, right? Biggie will wrap a fucking circle around Tupac.
That's
though.
not what we're talking about, though. We're talking about who raps better. I didn't say
No,
this is not a
you
GOAT
said
conversation.
greatest. You said greatest.
Oh,
on
no, I
that.
said who's better between Jay-Z or Black Thought. Greatness
Right, and
is
I
a
told
measure
you
of
who's
accomplishments.
better.
Of course,
Then we
Jay-Z
went-
is greater.
No, then
better.
we went on the GOAT, and
Measure.
Slankster
All
said
right.
that he didn't feel none of them was the GOAT.
Well, yes, you did say that, but that wasn't the premise of this conversation.
No, the premise of the
Tislam said that
conversation
Black
is
Thought.
Jay-Z can beat.
Listen, Tislam said that Black Thought was the greatest of all time, and by saying that, because many people think that Jay-Z is the greatest, can Black Thought and Jay-Z, if they were rapping against each other, who's actually the better MC based on skills?
And
That was the
If I
premise of the
could,
conversation.
if I could contribute a thought, no pun intended,
Right.
to paraphrase fellow DMV MC Substantial, art is subjective, only techniques have guidelines. And, everyone's always going to have their bias based off of their own opinions, their own experiences, and what they prefer. But in terms of, the masses being like, one thing is better because of it being more exposed, there are anomalies, but that is not true. And where the hip hop audience will disagree. And I will cite when Ambrosia for Heads emphatically bit Kareem Ali's idea and started doing the one-on-one March Madness style matchups on Facebook. MF Doom defeated Jay-Z. Doom got more votes than Jay-Z in the Final Four. And so sometimes the people are paying attention to certain categories, and it's not always what we think it is. And I think that in the bias of Black Thought's really lyrical, Jay-Z isn't deemed as being so, Jay-Z will expose that bias and attack it emphatically in a one-on-one battle. And I think it would be really good. It would be not lopsided at all. But I think at the end of the day,
not at all.
he'd probably win. For all the reasons we think he wouldn't. And I disagree with everyone about either of them being the greatest of all time. The greatest of all time has a haircut like Kareem Ali and looks something like this. But that might be a different.
Oh, William Griffin the Great.
Exactly.
I would agree with
Now,
that. Actually,
I want to say one
actually
last thing though. I would say if you were to go right this very moment now and grab Black Thought and grab Jay-Z. Now, let's get up next month and do this versus. I'm talking about right now, Black Thought in the bathroom, Jay-Z smacking Beyonce's ass and snatching him up and throwing him in a booth with one mic. I think Thought will be real prepared to take that ass.
I would agree with you if that Jay Electronica album didn't exist.
I get your point, and I'm gonna leave it alone.
Even if Jay Electronica album didn't exist, I'm still picking Jay-Z over Black Thought. Even though Black Thought is cool, he may be a better freestyler.
I don't like how you say he's cool. Hold on. I don't like how you just say he's cool.
He's the,
No.
I'm not saying he's not great.
I'm fucking with you. I'm fucking with you.
He's a good freestyler, right? But if you put those two on stage, in my opinion, in front of maybe 10 people, thousands of people,
Oh yeah,
right?
he got that band though.
I don't
Right.
know. I don't know. The Roots give a pretty good show. Black Thought got the
Right.
Roots behind him. That could
Got
be a
the
pretty.
roots with him.
That could be a pretty.
I mean,
Amazing
Jay-Z
show.
cheated. He used the roots before too, so they both
Right.
got the roots.
He used the Roots on the live album, right?
I'm picking Jay-Z.
Jay-Z could do. I mean, Jay-Z could do all things. Jay-Z is one of my favorite people to listen to. I don't think he's the greatest of all time. Would I put him over Black Thought, rhyme for rhyme? It really would just depend. I would say perhaps. But I could see Black Thought maybe coming out on top, but I would lean towards Jay-Z because of his versatility and his ability to adjust to situations. His flow is adjustable, whereas Black Thought is more formulaic, even though it's on a very, very high level. The brother said, don't go for written bars filled with rage, the primetime television and your gilded cage. Then forget it's people in your world still enslaved. I barred wide my wrist to let it fill the page. Like Black Thought is like fucking dope, like ridiculously dope. But Hove though, shit, I don't know. Man.
I mean, I think if you put Jay-Z's bars on the Jay Electronica album versus the Black Thought freestyle, you'd have one of the greatest hip hop showdowns in lyricism history.
That'd be a dope class to even just to teach the intricacy in Jay-Z's bars on that album, and also Black Thought's, and not just the freestyle joint he did with Funk Flex, which everybody keeps referencing, which was great. But go on Spotify and listen to them last couple projects that Black Thought dropped. Like, I think one with Ninth.
Is crazy.
It was, oh my God.
Content-wise,
and the thing is, he doesn't not do that real fast flow, which is a skill in itself, but he can switch up his flow. He can triple it up. He can slow it down. He always, though, has his foundational base of cadencing, but there's been, especially, and I keep referencing the last three projects because I'm not gonna lie, I've been waiting for Black Thought to go solo and lead the Roots since birth. So those things are held highly to me.
He was born, nigga.
Yo, you don't understand, like, because if people say, well, what if, and I love Rakim, like, don't get me wrong, Saint, and I won't drag it on Ali. I know you got the time limit, but yeah, Rakim, that's the god. Like, if I was to say that, I wouldn't say it in front of his face to be 100 with you. Like, come on, like, that's Rakim. Like, an MC's MC. But I need more.
I mean, look, Jay-Z's
one of the greatest writers in the 20th.
As far as songwriting and being an artist, I think Jay-Z is better. But just rapping bar for bar, I think it's a much closer conversation.
As long as Jay-Z don't start rapping like the Fushnikins in the battle, I think it would be an amazing.
9 to 5 is how you survive. I ain't trying to survive. I'm trying to live it to the limit and love it a lot. Life ills poison my body. I used to say, fuck Mike's skills. I never prayed to God. I prayed to God E. That's right. It's wicked. That's life. I live it. I ain't asking for forgiveness for my sins. And I mean, fuck, I don't know, man. Kareem Ali don't know about it. I'm gonna go with Jay-Z, but in a very by a cunt hair.
That nigga Jay-Z did You're My Best Friend's Sister, Grown Women and all. Did we not realize this nigga rap Scarface? This shit was not his life. Like, yo, Jay has did some crazy shit.
No arguments there.
I know. I still don't think he's.
So I have to stand here today as what I was when I was born, a black man.
Your racism bounces off me, I'm bulletproof. Your prejudice gets deflected, I'm bulletproof. Your hatred can't penetrate me, I'm bulletproof. Our minds can't be shackled no more, nah, we know the truth. Yeah, from the spot that Malcolm stood, looking out through the window, I'm looking out over my hood.